moly, Jim, that boat.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Rhino.
Holy moly, Jim, that boat.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Rhino.
We just need to be methodical by stacking or playing the right way,
Can
possession
the
after
Knicks
possession,
go
after possession, after possession, after possession, after possession, after possession, after possession, after possession.
Go ahead,
after
Mike. Do your
possession,
thing.
after
Tonight, Knicks and the Cavs. Looking forward to that one. I don't usually. Holy crap! Wow. We're gonna break format. I am not a big NASCAR fan. My parents are very much into NASCAR. Kyle Larson, who is from Elk Grove, two-time Cup champion. It's just been announced that NASCAR icon Kyle Busch, a two-time Cup Series champion, he's won more races across the sport's 3 national series than any other driver in history. He's died at age 41. Just coming across the wire right now. Unbelievable. Earlier Thursday, NASCAR said Busch was hospitalized as the result of his severe illness. Quote, on behalf of the Busch family, everybody at Richard Childress Racing and all of NASCAR, we are devastated to announce the sudden and tragic passing of Kyle Busch, NASCAR said in a statement. Quote, our entire NASCAR family is heartbroken by the loss of Kyle Busch, a future Hall of Famer. Kyle was a rare talent, one who comes along once in a generation. He was fierce, he was passionate, and he was immensely skilled and cared deeply about the sport and his fans. End quote. This was sudden. Wow. 41. That's just too young. Too young. I mean, when I think about Kyle Busch, and again, I'm not a big NASCAR guy. I watch it casually because my parents are very much into NASCAR. And more times than not, if it's NASCAR season, it's the weekend, a race is on the TV. But Kyle Busch, if I am correct, and I want to be careful here, he was a little bit more controversial. Like he liked to stir the pot per se, but he was damn good in that sport. In fact, if you asked any NASCAR fan, or you know what, let's take that away, not a NASCAR fan. If you asked a casual like me, if you could name 5 NASCAR racers, he would be one that I would be able to name. Insane. I mean, it seems standard, but thoughts and prayers to the NASCAR family, to the Busch family. 41 years old. Nobody should be on that side of the dirt at 41. That literally popped up as the show is starting. I believe he has a brother too, Kurt Busch, right? That's in racing. Wow. Big personality for NASCAR. Busch ranked 24th in the Cup Series standing this season with 2 top 10 finishes in 12 races. The Vegas native won championships in 2015, 2019. Busch is in his 4th season at Richard Childress Racing after winning titles with Joe Gibbs Racing. His last win came in 2023, his first with RCR. One of NASCAR's most polarizing personalities. Busch had won 234 races across the sport's 3 national series, more than any other driver in history. He's won 63 Cup races, including the 2018 Coca-Cola 600. Quote, throughout a career that spanned more than 2 decades, Kyle set records in national series wins, won championships at NASCAR's highest level, and fostered the next generation of drivers as an owner in the truck series, end quote. NASCAR said in its statement, quote, his sharp wit and competitive spirit sparked a deep emotional connection with fans of every age, creating the proud and loyal Rowdy Nation. End quote. Quote, our thoughts are with Samantha, Brexton, and Lennox, Kyle and Samantha's parents, Kurt, and all of Kyle's family, Richard and Judy Childress, everyone at Richard Childress Racing, his teammates, his friends. NASCAR lost a giant of the sport today far too soon. Damn. I mean, you don't want to get news like that ever. But to start a show, man, was not expecting to talk NASCAR today. Let's bring you in on the conversation really quick. I will monitor the networks, and if there's anything worth breaking into, we will break into it for you. So I will keep an eye on that as we go through the chat. You've got Knicks and Cavs coming up tonight, which we'll talk about. I need your help on Knicks Cavs. I am really, really torn on which way to go in this game tonight. Appreciate it, Athena. What's up, dude? Tristan, possession after possession after possession. Very sad news. Wow. So sad. Why keep the illness a secret? I don't know what the illness was. I mean, it seems like things are kind of coming out quickly. I mean, if there is a website that you're going to turn to see if there's like any extra information, it is TMZ. They're pretty accurate. We'll go to them really quick. I'm looking at the article right now. Earlier in the day, this is via TMZ. Earlier in the day, Richard Childress Racing revealed Kyle was in the hospital with a, quote, severe illness, which came on the heels of his last race on May 10th at Watkins Glen in upstate New York. During the race, Busch radioed his crew for medical aid. On TV, they noted Kyle had been battling some sort of sinus code. However, he actually finished the race coming in 8th. That's it. Man, 41. He's my age. 41. Way too early to be saying stuff like that. Some things worse than death. Not sure what that means. Kyle Busch was a better driver than his brother Kurt. Yeah, I do know that. And I know he was controversial. That's crazy. So many things can get you now. Kyle Busch drove the M&M car, and my coworker's son had a great experience meeting him at Xfinity Raceway. Here's one. He was the man. Him versus Brad Keselowski, I know that name too, was a fun rivalry. It's Lynn, perfect time for you to weigh in. I know you were going to call today, but Lynn, you know more about this game than I do, but I know he was one of the top drivers. So anyways, we will move along. I'm not going to give you 2.5 hours of I'm not going to give you 2.5 hours of Kyle Busch, but if something notable comes up, we will talk about it. But Kyle Busch passed away at the age of 41. How could you be torn? The Cavs are cursed. Yes, Danhausen, I guess, was at ESPN, and he was cursing the Cavs. You know, Danhausen will probably show up in Cleveland and then curse the Knicks. It's kind of a WWE thing to do. So we'll talk about that game tonight. We'll talk about the game that happened last night. There's some other things in the news, but I really do want your input because my gut reaction for this one tonight is Knicks all the way. I think part of what pushed Cleveland last game was, one, the Knicks were not shooting well, but Cleveland was riding that momentum. There's a fine line of riding the momentum of coming off of a game 7 and being tired like the Spurs were last night, visibly. Mitch Johnson acknowledged it as well. He said before the game they were going to do some quicker substitutions, and it showed in the first half. Their 3 balls not going down short. And I tweeted out, I said, the key to the second half for the Spurs is the 3 ball. It started getting going, but the Thunder were just a little too much. And that's where that freshness came in, because the Thunder only playing their second game in, I believe, 13 days. And Cleveland tonight, are they going to be gassed? I mean, that's a tough thing to come back from regardless. You got to think Kenny Atkinson is going to make some of the adjustments that we talked about, but my gut tells me New York all the way, but it's like, well, Cleveland's been resilient. I know Kenny Atkinson's not going to do the same thing with Jalen Brunson. You know, I heard a very interesting take, somebody that I don't agree with too often, but he was spot on. And it was something that I did not really catch on film. We're going to listen to him in a second. But before that, let's listen to Kenny Atkinson at Shoot Around today.
About James, I'll just defend him. He's a good isolation defender. Always has been. He's super smart. I said it last night. He's got great hands. I was kind of a little more upset with our backline defense. Okay, you know, he had two or three really tough shots on him, but then I think the baseline drive where our low guy didn't come over and get a contest, right? This is team defense. At this level, it's team defense. You know, are we, you know, helping them, sending them in the right direction, have the help there. So sure, we can, I know everybody's putting it on James, but I'd say it's a lot of it's on the team, our team defense. And we were great for 3 quarters, like really, really great. So we can do it. I think sure, some of it was him. There was a couple of blow-bys, but again, I'd argue it was on you know, the team defense. I said, well, listen, my friend, I said, without you, we're knocked out in the first round. That's first. My personal opinion. So let's just stop that. We're in a great position. You've played great. You know, and you know, sometimes micro experiences get exaggerated. So,
My man, that was not a micro experience. That is about as macro as they come. Usually macro is used in a different sense, but yes, that was a massive experience. That can be a season ending experience with a team like the Knicks. You were going to have to get one on their home court, and you had that in the bag. And here's the other thing, the Knicks, and you're looking at the score from last night. We'll talk about it as well. The Knicks have come back multiple times.
Please try again.
Dude, I do not like having a co-host. Siri thinks that she's a co-host. You are not a co-host, Siri. Stay out of it. I didn't say anything close to your name. Anyways, Siri just wanted to say hi.
Hi.
So the Knicks have come back multiple times, double digits this season. How he didn't break up that run. Okay. What he's trying to say there was with the defense, there's other things the rest of the team could have been doing. He's not wrong, but here's the bigger problem, and I can't believe I'm going to agree with him. I'm going to meet him in the middle. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to fully agree with him, but in this sense, he's more right than wrong. I'm talking about
Light the beam!
Draymond Green.
Light it!
So Draymond Green went on his podcast, and he talked about how this normally gets played, and he's right. I mean, he is literally spot on. This is how it usually gets played, and this is how they've hidden Steph Curry on defense through the dynasty. Somebody needs to get through that screen. You can't listen to what Draymond says. It's perfect. You get through the screen a couple times with Brunson hands in the ball, or the ball in his hands. And then if you're going to make the switch, you make the switch late in the shot clock. He's right.
Jalen Brunson living on an island with James Harden guarding. That's just not something you can let happen. This isn't just a coaching issue. When you're trying to compete at a championship level, you must have guys that want to take on that challenge. I'm not switching at this point in the game. Let them set the first screen, don't switch. Let them set the second screen, don't switch. Now, as opposed to Jalen Brunson getting the switch with 19 seconds on the shot clock, 17 seconds on the shot clock, now he gets to switch with 6 or 7 seconds on the shot clock. Now you got to go. Now our defense can react and we just end up in a rotation. But he's not just dicing us up. You got guys in there that don't really want that challenge. They don't want to fight through the screen and say, this is my matchup, I want to stop this guy. I don't understand it. Guys simply don't know how to win, don't want to do what it takes. I was baffled by this. I'm still baffled by it every night when I watch these guys accept switches and not really want to guard the guy. So everybody going to come out and say, oh, man, James Harden got annihilated. They're picking on him. They should pick on him. Why not? Absolutely pick on him. So all of a sudden, them threes that will fall late, they fall short. No matter how you want to slice it, it is not James Harden's job to guard Jalen Brunson one-on-one. It's not what he's paid to do. Some of those other guys who's just switching off, it is your...
All right, we'll cut it off there. So I say he is right in a sense because that is really how it should be played when it's done right. He's wrong when he says it's not James Harden's job to play defense. Yes, it is 50% of James Harden's job to be on the defensive side of the ball. So you're wrong there. It goes back to coaching. It just does. Kenny Atkinson, that's the wild card to me because the Cavs have the ingredients to make it hard, and you've got to think they're going to double Jalen Brunson pretty much all night tonight. So I don't know which way I'm going to go. I have not done my prize pick yet. So I'm heavily leaning towards the Knicks. It's up to all you to sway me. Last night, kind of started talking about this. This is what we talked about, the key to the series, the referees. And I don't want to take anything away from SGA. But last night, when you start pulling hair and stuff like that's happening, not a great showing for the ref show. That said, that's why SGA is the MVP. You got a lot more out of Chet Holmgren, but the Spurs, they continue to fight. And as I titled the show, all attention now turns to De'Aaron Fox. Dylan Harper, hamstring injury. Who knows? Hamstrings are finicky. Shams reported that Jay Will for the Thunder is going to be listed as day-to-day. You need De'Aaron Fox back tonight. I think the Spurs may have won that game had Dylan Harper not left the game. And that was really weird too, by the way. I'm not sure if anybody caught that. I just thought it was really bizarre how he went into the tunnel, comes back out of the tunnel. He looks like he's moving okay. And then two guys stop him and send him back. And so, of course, people online are like, oh, those were people from FanDuel. Those were, that's the NBA. No, I don't think that's what it is. Show me some concrete proof. Don't give me an AI video unless it's hilarious. And guess what? Somebody delivered. This is one of the best videos. AI is the worst thing ever, but sometimes it will produce gems. Check this out.
Did you see how I pulled his hair?
I seen that, but I ain't gonna call it.
It's the thing now. Great job out there, Tony. Here's your bonus. Isaiah, keep hugging Wemby on every rebound. Trust me, you won't foul out. Shay, what the hell are you doing on the ground again?
Just practicing my flops, Mr. Silver.
That's pretty good, right? That's really, really good because SGA was flopping around really, really bad last night. The big news for us around here in Sacramento, Max made second team all rookie. Very happy for him. We covered that live on the show yesterday. It was a big show. It was a fun show. In fact, Tay went legend on the show. If you weren't with us, check out Tay's call before we found out about Max making the all rookie second team. First, let's go to the phones. Tay, what's up, man?
Hey, Rhino, thanks for taking my call.
Of course.
I swear if in 40 minutes, if I don't see Max Reynolds' name in the first or the second NBA rookie team, and I see Ace Bailey or Derek Queen make it for them, I swear I'm gonna become a Lakers fan. I am tired of the disrespect that we've been getting. He should have also made the All-Star rookie team. Not just Max Reynolds, but Sabonis got robbed 2 All-Star appearances because of Jaren Jackson Jr. JJJ is not better than Sabonis. I am tired of the disrespect that we get as a team.
Preach! Keep going, Tay. Did we lose Tay? Damn! Tay just drops the mic, drops the phone, and walks off on that. Well done, Tay. That will live in infamy around here for a minute. I said, and I thought Jason Anderson was spot on with his vote. If I had a vote, that's where I would have put Max at 5. I would have had him on the first team all rookie at the 5 position. Turns out he was 3 votes shy. 3 votes of being first team. How about that? But Cedric Coward beat him out. I still don't understand that. Like, if Cedric was playing for a playoff team, cool. I'm still waiting on an explanation. But on the other side of the coin, I'm like, okay, the Kings rule didn't necessarily apply to our dude Max Reyno because he got 26 first team votes. So other people saw it too. I know for a fact that there is not 20 people in Sacramento voting. So congratulations to Max. Well deserved. Happy about that for him. The Kings put out the press release on Max. And yeah, Cedric is the GOAT. Yeah. Tristan, you just like hearing your sound drops. That's what you like doing. You like baiting me, Tristan, which is fine. Because more times than not, I will take the bait. But come on, Tristan, pay attention. Do I need to get Jerry in here?
Tristan, pay attention. Pay attention.
Yeah, come on, Tristan.
Come on.
So that's definitely a little bump going into the summer. It's something that you can kind of come away with a decent taste in your mouth about from the season. How about this reported offer? Check this out. The Heat are reportedly offering Tyler Hero Jaime Jaquez Jr., Khalil Ware, and the number 13th pick and 2 future first-round picks for Giannis, I don't know that you're going to get a better offer than that. That's a haul. And that's exactly what you are asking for if you're Milwaukee. I don't know the numbers on Tyler Hero. I don't know what he has left, but Jaime Jaquez Jr., perfect King. Would love to see him in a Kings uniform. Been saying that for a minute as well. Him and Kobe White, young guy, hustle guy. Khalil Ware, I remembered the draft a couple years ago when Jerry Reynolds was super high on Khalil Ware, and he ended up going late in the first round to Miami, and he's been really, really good. Shoots the ball much better than many anticipated from beyond the arc, other than Jerry Reynolds. So let's see what's going to be a better offer than that. That is literally, maybe they want more picks, but that's what they're asking for. You're getting 3 young players, one of which is a really good player, an all-star. Tyler Hero has been an all-star. And then Khalil Ware and Jaquez Jr., I don't know. I would not let that sit too long, or I would be reaching out to the other interested teams and saying, squatter, get off the pot on Giannis. Now, that's the other thing. Will Giannis want to stay in Miami? It seems like it would be a pretty good fit for the most part. Pat Riley has been wanting to bring in a star. So there you go. How about that? If that is true from NBA Central. Okay. I am thrilled. I am so happy because that is not what an LSU football coach looks like. That's not what an LSU football coach sounds like. Let me remind you about Brian Kelly. When Brian Kelly went to an LSU basketball game, I believe it was the night of his introductory press conference, or maybe a day or two after. Listen to Brian Kelly. Something came over him. All of a sudden, dude's voice changed.
It's a great night to be a Tiger. I'm here with my family.
I'm here with my family. That is like the worst accent I have ever heard. And he got slaughtered for it. And he had many more moments at LSU like this.
That's a great question.
That's a great question.
Thank you.
So when LSU told him to kick sand and move on, and yes, I understand Lane Kiffin is the head coach, and that whole thing was a big episode in its own. When Lane Kiffin left the University of Tennessee, bro, wait till we're in New Orleans. Yeah. Dude, why are you breaking news here, man? That's not even confirmed yet. When Lane Kiffin, this is true, when Lane Kiffin left Tennessee, they named a sewer plant after Lane Kiffin. The South is different. The Southeastern Conference does not mess around. So I could not be any more happier to hear that Ed Orgeron is returning to LSU on Lane Kiffin's staff. If you don't know Ed, how about you meet him? This is Ed Orgeron.
Everybody loves their football team. I understand their fans, how much they love their football team. We have a great fan base here. It was just time for us to win. We had the better football team. John Emery, another great young man from Destrehan, Louisiana. Hold on a second. Hey, guys. Hey, I'm having a press conference, okay? Thank you. Your arm up. Bring your arm up. Get your fucking ass over here. Bullshit. Great young man. So proud that we have him. Great parents. And we wanted to get bigger. I'll stop. Hey, stop the ball. Stop the drill. I'm having a press conference. Thank you.
Now that's a football coach. That is an LSU football coach right there, baby. So he returns to Lane Kiffin's staff. Couldn't be happier about this reunion. That's going to be awesome. I can't wait. Ed Orgeron, who did win a national championship out at LSU as head coach. So I'm pumped about that. We've got some NFL news with the Browns and Deshaun Watson. I'm not particularly thrilled to get in to that. Notre Dame protected Brian Kelly from a student's death. Shocked it never came up. I did not know that. Brian Kelly's style is dying. You have to treat college football players like they're professional athletes or they transfer. Yeah, that's like every single coach at this point. But there's just something about Brian Kelly, man. He's unsavory to me. Mac knows that I'm a Notre Dame fan like him. I'm not down with Brian Kelly's act.
It's a great night to be a Tiger. I'm here with my family.
Like, this dude thinks he's slick. This guy thinks he's a chameleon. Like, he's one of those people, like, if I shook his hand, I'd probably want to take a shower. And I would say the same thing about that when he was coaching Notre Dame. So you can talk college football. A couple of things we hit yesterday that I want to go back to just really, really quick. Oops, that's not the right one. We're rolling down the list. Couple things that we hit yesterday. Oh, we'll get to you, Nate. Nate is back in the news. I've been thinking about this since last night. And so I want to ask you again, how would you react to that? In no way am I saying that the Kings are in talks with the Thunder. I'm not at all. But if you did get that phone call, I'm wondering how you as Kings fans would react to that. If you could get the 12th, the 17th, and the 37. What do you think about that? Would you do it? Could you do it? I do know this. The Kings have worked out 6 they've actually worked out 9. 6 of which are not probably getting drafted, and that's the majority of the guys that you're going to be coming in or having come in to work out. And the Kings have been extremely good hitting on the unrestricted free agents or the unsigned and undrafted free agents. So they've worked out 6 guys that probably will not get drafted. And they've worked out 3 that will get drafted. 2 forwards, actually 2 small forwards, 1 power forward. The 3 that will likely be drafted. So take it for what you will. Their rankings 25, 30, and 34. So very interesting. You're going to hear more about that. And then also the Domantas Sabonis talk. We can reignite this. I didn't play the audio yesterday. I would like to play that from his exit interview, but the reports that we put up, I've been saying it all along that I don't think you are going to have an opening night here in Sacramento with Domantas Sabonis still on the roster. Eddie, what's up, man? I am not all that excited about us drafting Kingston Fleming. So I'd say if they can do it more chances. See, I had somebody else hit me up about Michigan. 2 players. Mara and Lindenberg. Is it Lindenberg? Axel Lindenberg, I believe. I don't know how Lindenberg's game transfers to the NBA. It's a little bit mechanical. And Mara, 7'3", 7'4". I guess if you're going to contend, you need one of those guys. But if you're not going to contend immediately, can you find another one of those guys? Mara is, though, and he was, I should say, impressive in the national championship game. He was impressive in the Final Four. But not sure. if the Spurs and the Thunder guards are able to stop Brunson or Mitchell in the finals, then the Thunder picks are more enticing. Well, we had the report up yesterday about the Thunder, and if OKC gets through, or excuse me, if the Spurs get through the Thunder this year, it kind of made me think a little more about the Giannis thing. I was not thinking that made any sense at all, but okay, that makes a little bit of sense. I mean, who else are you going to put up against Wemby if Chet Holmgren can't do it? Eddie likes it. He's saying yes, yes, yes. Let's hear from Coach Brown today. Shoot around. Or excuse me, practice yesterday, getting ready for tonight's game, Knicks and Cavaliers game 2.
That's one a little bit harder.
No, I mean that's just the action we went to at the time. But we have a lot of other stuff, and we didn't execute well throughout the course of the game, and we have to do a better job of it. And we tried to clean a lot of it up today, and hopefully it'll translate to the game tomorrow because. I feel like everybody we have on the floor is dynamic. Our offense has been dynamic, and we don't want to lose sight of that.
With that, obviously this is the second game winning streak. A lot of us, playing through Cavs, talk about the change, playing through Cavs, the elbows and stuff. The fourth quarter overtime, a lot of ball in Jalen's hands, trying to get out of the attacking part. Is it good to have multiple options, different systems, different ways to attack an opponent?
Yeah, and that's. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah. That's what I alluded to earlier. Trying to show the diversity that our group has, not just with the actions that we try to execute, but also with the players involved in it. I got to try to do a better job of helping with that diversity throughout the course of the game, so that down the stretch we have a few more things that we can go to.
When you see, like you said, Jalen up in the huddle and kind of taking target a couple times when you guys are down, how much of that do you appreciate seeing? Not a lot of teams have a captain and a guy who's supposed to be heard there.
I love it. The teams I've been around that have had a lot of success, they usually have accountability within their group because that goes a lot further than me yelling or saying stuff at times.
I got 2 quick ones. Speaking on that accountability, how much has Jose brought just as a voice, whether he's on the floor or off the floor?
Jose's been tremendous. Our bench, I would have to say it starts with Jose. When you watch the game, when you go back and rewatch the game, I'm up a lot, so I don't see it all the time, but I hear from my coaches how good Jose is. And
well, you should be watching the film, Coach. Just saying. Warming up of the idea of trading down if Acuff is off the board. I think Acuff's off the board. I really do. I don't see him being there at 7. I just don't. Mac talking about recruiting. BK allowed an intern to stay in the lift in film practice. The lift has a warning not to use during high winds, and he kept a student in the lift during a high wind storm. Student fell to his death. It's not good. It's awful. Too much death around here. Peter, Dylan isn't even a starter. But Cedric Coward and Colin Murray Boyles didn't even qualify as they didn't play the minimum of 65 games. I don't think that applies to the all-rookie team, Peter. But that is a very good point. It's an excellent point, actually. I will give you that. But I don't think that applies. Yeah. I'm leaning Knicks. Where's everybody else? Is everybody else going Knicks? Like, would you go big Knicks? Like, big on Knicks? Or would you go like, okay, I feel comfortable with this? Zach Edey with a little less skill. I think they're different players. Mara is, and Edey has shed some weight. Edey's basketball journey started a little bit later in his life. I'll look into him more. I'm starting to do my deep dives. What that is a story from the LA Times. Oh, okay, got it. Hey Ryan, channel, can you get? I can't get Grant to do anything during football season. It's his show. It's up to him. If he wants to go 2 hours, here's what I'll tell you. I watched a little bit of his show last night, and I chimed in about it. And if you notice, I'm getting more comfortable right now in this format, because to be comfortable in this format, like when we were in the daily, just possession after show after show after show after show after show of the King's Court, it's different because it's a different format. As much as, in both cases with the radio show, I've got a microphone there, Grant's got a microphone, we're still on camera. There's a lot of other elements that are going on with that show that break the show up. When I sit here and do this show for an hour and a half, 2 straight hours, you realize that's a 4-hour radio show. That's kind of the trade-off, because there are no commercials. So to be able to go for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, you need a ton of interaction. So that's what I would tell you. If you give him more interaction, and you guys have been great about coming around, give him a reason to stay. It's not like he wants to run off, but I'm not going to say it's taking us a little bit. I can only speak for myself, but like the first kind of 3 or 4 shows of doing this, it's a different flow. It's a completely different flow. You don't have a back and forth. You don't have the transitions. You don't have the commercials. So it's a bigger ask to go longer on this format. So, I mean, we'll look into it. I mean, when him and I are doing shows together, then, we go longer. We never go any less than an hour when we're doing shows together. And, I get it. You miss him. You want more. We're trying to give you, and speaking of that, he's going to be off tonight. But we're going to be giving you more content. We've got a couple things in the works. I talked to him last night. We're going to be around together more often. Yeah, and this is huge too. Sponsors, that only helps us be able to go longer and do more. So if you know anybody, if you want to sponsor the show, I don't think many people realize the reach of this show. You might just look at the YouTube views on King's Court and say, oh, well, 250 people are watching it a day. Well, it's also going out to Apple. It's going to Spotify. It's going to all those other places. And the same is true of Grant shows. They're going to all those places. So you're being exposed to, like, I'm looking at the numbers for this month. The exposure is massive for the downloads between his show and mine, more so on his side. So, that would be great. More sponsors. We're up for it. Yeah, lay off me, Eddie. I know. Ebel. It's in the back of my head. Like I said, I'm settling in. I woke up to a really weird thing this morning. So I had a DM from somebody that I know and am familiar with. We don't talk all that much. And I'm like, interesting DM, because the first part of it was, normal, like, what's up? And then the second part was like, huh. I'm like, that's weird. And so I go and I look, and I'm looking at their X page, and something about the post that they wanted me to look at was off, and it had the comments disabled. And then I'm looking at the person tagged in the X post. So I pulled them up, and there's a number of you that follow that person. There's mutual followers between people I follow and some of you that follow us. And so I'm like, okay, well, maybe it is legit, right? So I send a DM back, right? And I get a response like right away. And it's like about the other messaging that was in the post. And then I get a couple follow-up DMs about it. And I'm like, okay, because in my first DM back, I was like, hey, doing well. Hope you're well. Did you get hacked? That was my question. Did you get hacked? And they're like, no, I didn't get hacked. But then the writing, I'm like, that's not how they write. It's just not adding up. And so I checked back just a little bit ago, and the post is gone from the person's page. I think they got hacked. So now I'm at the point, and I'm going to kick it to you. Do I screenshot the DMs and send it back to that person and say, are you sure you did not get hacked? Because then I'm going to look really weird if they really didn't get hacked. But I'm like 99.9% sure they got hacked. Help me out. What do I do? And I'm leaning towards the Knicks. Going to knock on businesses now and asking. Yeah, dude, hey, appreciate the love. You need to own that first. Actually, I'm now a bit higher on Fleming, seeing how much defense. Yeah, his defense is good, and that's what it comes down to with the postseason. So important. You never know how guys are going to grow. Some guys get growth spurts. Some guys can put more muscle on than others. Like Victor Wembanyama, he's never going to. This is my opinion. I don't think Wemby will ever fill out like Giannis. Yet when Giannis came into the league, Giannis looked like Wemby, but shorter. So you don't know how players will fill out. A perfect example is Keegan Murray has filled out really well. You saw a big jump between year 1, year 2, and even through year 4. Max Reno, we talked about yesterday, he put on weight during the season, which is something that is not done easily, especially as a rookie. So with Fleming, it's like, can he get that weight on? Does that weight affect his game? Because I've done a fairly deep dive into Fleming. I've done dives into Fleming, and I've done dives into Acuff. If we want to have this conversation, we can, but I still need your opinions on whether or not I got hacked. I need you to help me out there, because I'm not sure whether or not I got hacked or that person got hacked. It's like, do I send it back? Do I not? What do I do? Don't want to look like a nerd, because I respect the person and we don't talk that much. Anyways, let me pull this up for you. Let me pull my notes up on these two guys. So I compared the two, and I told you last week I was going to talk to a scout. I was able to do that. Let me pull up my notes from that discussion. That is not it. Looking. Should be no attachment. Bear with me. There we go. Nope. That's not it either. Where are you at? That's what I'll do. Hold on. Coming. Promise. So with Fleming, as I'm continuing to look for my notes, with Fleming, he is a much better defender, which we know about. Here we go. Got it. He's a much better defender than Acuff. Fleming's 3-point shooting. So here's what I put. Fleming is a really good slasher and playmaker. Good at the rim, and this is based off of kind of the conversation that we had. Very, very good at reading the floor. In fact, the word that the scout said was dazzling at reading the floor. And this is at the college level. Makes everybody better with pace and vision. Shooting is the question because he only attempted 3.3. Or he attempted under 3-pointer or under 3 triples a game. He was at 38.7%. Mechanics are a little hitchy. And he didn't hunt threes as compared to Acuff. And we had also talked about Wagler. I didn't expect to get into my notes today, but you're getting them right now. Thanks for bearing with me. Let me answer a few of your questions, and then I will get back to my notes on the two. Let's see. This is what I mean. Like the transitions going back and forth from the chat. I think it's possible to trade up. Unless you're willing to part with Max Reynaud or a piece like that, probably not. Kings really got screwed up winning a bunch of games towards the end of the regular season. I don't see it that way, but fair enough. I understand why. What's up, Rhino? Seed oils cause inflammation. Joined 5 minutes late. Not sure if you talked about Robert Saleh and his comments about removing seed oils. I did not, and I almost pulled them. So I'm glad you brought that up. People saying Ja Morant can be possible now that Memphis. Ja Morant could have been possible at the trade deadline. Ja Morant could have been possible for a minute. The Kings were one, and I want to make this clear. These were not talks. My understanding was these were not hot back and forth talks. These were like very casual, exploratory, just even half in jest type of talks. Like, oh, well, if we were going to do something like that, nothing where it was enough to really report on or talk about. Maybe others. I'm not like an NBA insider covering in the league. Maybe some of those guys, because they seem to come out with more of the information that the locals don't get. It would be a Zach LaVine. It would be a risk for a risk. And the reason I say no to that is because you would be taking on Ja Morant's salary beyond next year or beyond this coming season. And that's the one thing about Zach LaVine. You wash your hands of it at the end of this season. It's gone. It's done. Everybody gets hacked. Just make sure you have 50 cents in your account. No, it was like an X thing. It wasn't like any money or anything like that. And 50 cents, I wish I had that in my account. Ask him Acuff or Fleming to really determine if he got hacked. See, but he reached out first, right? Okay, maybe I can do that. Makes everybody better as long as he's on the game. Sac needs a lot of help. They should explore trading down. They're not getting a franchise guy at 7. You don't know that for sure, but it's unlikely you're getting that guy at 7. Okay, so let me go through some of this with you really quick. I'm going to give you the straight up of it with Fleming, and then we will go to Acuff. Speed, athleticism, winner is some of the words that were used by the scout that I talked to. But the speed laterally is kind of the issue. He's explosive in the open floor, and he's a nightmare in transition because he looks at the floor really, really well. 6'4", good length. I do like his length. He can't. Here's my, and this was the question I asked. I said, what about the first contact? You know, when a point guard is guarding and they get that first bump from the opponent, or when a point guard's initiating and they get that first bump away from whoever's defending them. Is that something that can move him? And that's a little bit of a concern, yet that's going to be a concern with every rookie. Even Neat Clifford, who was built well. Although I thought he stood up for the most side. They thought that there was upside with his athleticism and lightning in a bottle when he gets downhill. I did not necessarily if you're going to compare Fleming when you talk about, because he is really fast. He was like second or third fastest in the combine. If you're going to compare his speed to Acuff's, I'm giving Acuff the nod. I think Acuff is the fastest, really the fastest with a basketball out of college that I've seen since De'Aaron Fox. Also, think about this with Acuff. There seems to be this tie within John Calipari was at a game late in the year. I don't put anything into it, but I know a lot of fans will. You're going to say, well, Malik Monk, he was a wildcat. You're going to say De'Aaron Fox was a wildcat. You're going to say that DeMarcus Cousins was a wildcat. And that was all while Cal was there. Now Cal's the coach of Arkansas, and you've got Acuff here. So we already went over some of the scoring defense with Acuff. Oh, excuse me. Fleming is the best defender between him and Acuff. I agree with that. Quick lateral movement. There you go. That's where I think a lot of his movement kind of stands. He averaged 1.5 steals a game and impacted the ball on Houston. And that's the thing. If you stand out on Houston, and we kind of had a side conversation about this, if you stand out as a defender on Houston, that means you're a pretty good defender. Now, the NBA is a completely different animal, but Houston's program is very much built around their defense. They weren't a very good three-point shooting team. Scores were low. That's what Kelvin Sampson coaches. That's what he does. It's very similar to the program that I was around in San Diego State when they made their Final Four run and their run to the national championship game. Very physical, very defensive oriented. It's not going to be a fast paced game if you're playing it at your style. You're hoping that, field goal attempts are down. So I think, or at least the scout thought, that he could guard 1 through 3 in the long term. But the most important thing is he thinks that Fleming can keep people in front of him. And Kings fans, us covering the Kings, whatever it is, we know the Kings have had a massive issue with keeping people in front of them. As for Acuff, or actually, let's go to intangibles really quick. I wish I could show you this, but I don't want to break confidentiality. Fleming, best pure point guard feel, plus two-way tools, could be the steal of the top 10 if his shot stabilizes. I 100% agree with that. I think that's spot on. All right, let's talk about Acuff. 23.5 points per game. He was a high volume guy, pretty good efficiency, 48, 44, 81, 3-level threat. That's big. He can manipulate defenses. He has a really good change of pace, excuse me. which is really important. Defense is bad. He acknowledged it at the combine. I've watched it on film. The defense is not there. Whether that's an effort thing, we'll see. Physically, he has the skill to defend, I think, but that's his weakest link. He's competitive and strong, but shorter in stature and occasionally gambles and exposed on elite speed. So teams will use his speed against him, is what that means. Somebody who said it last night, I think it was ESPN. I think it was Richard Jefferson last night that said if you go for a steal and you don't get it in the playoffs, and it's true like this really throughout the season as well, it's a bucket for the other team because now it's 5-on-4. And there's certain players in the league that have the speed and quickness to actually do that and recover. You had one who's now in San Antonio in De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron made one of the best defensive plays I've ever seen in my life a couple of seasons ago, where he was beat. He went for the steal. He was beat backdoor. He was able to recover, and in midair, he adjusted his body like a receiver adjusts and changes sides and blocked the shot against the backboard. I'll never forget that play from De'Aaron. So it's trying to bait a player like Acuff, and more times than not, unless you're that guy, you're going to put your team in a bad spot. So that's where the basketball IQ comes in. I can't really speak to it with him because I've not watched enough of the games. He has, I will agree with this, he has the highest upside for sure in the draft, or at least out of the point guards. I shouldn't say in the draft, but he has the highest upside out of the guards. Now, one thing that concerns me that came up in the conversation was combo guard. The Kings have not done well with combo guards. Let's just flat out say it. And that's over a couple of different front offices. The combo guard, other than Tyrese Halliburton, they've misjudged them. So if you're putting them in a combo, are we looking at a situation where he's a project at point guard? Let me repeat that. Are we looking at a situation where he's a project at point guard? Because the Kings right now cannot afford to have a project at point guard. It's the position that they have not had over the last 3 years. It's the position of need. Both Doug and Scott said it during exits. Jerry Reynolds thinks that a possible comp ceiling for Acuff could be Kyrie Irving. That's for Jerry Reynolds to say that, saying that he reminds him of Kyrie Irving, maybe a little better. That's insane. So here is what the scout said to me. Dame likes, I asked for a comp. Not Dame, but Dame-like scorer and creator in terms of like a ceiling for him. If his defense improves, or he could be an off-the-bench microwave scorer. So the other thing that stood out to me with what I've watched so far with Acuff and Wagler is, or excuse me, I'm saying Wagler because we talked about him too. With Acuff and Flemings, excuse me. Flemings, I don't think his ceiling is as high as Acuff's, but I think he's a little bit lower risk. I think as we sit here today, and this is strictly my opinion, I think he's the better all-around basketball player right now. but I don't think the ceiling is as high as Acuff. And I've said it all along, I don't think Acuff's going to be on the board at 7. Like how we're talking about the Knicks and the Cavs tonight, like how I'm back and forth, and like, it feels like the Knicks are kind of the sure bet for this one because of everything that happened. The Cavs playing 7 games in the previous series and then losing the way they did in game 1, and now having to come back tonight. Now the Knicks have knocked off their rust and they're coming off the momentum of the comeback, and they've only played 2 games now in 11 days. Like, it seems everything should point Knicks. That's how I would compare this right now with Fleming and Acuff. You don't necessarily need a point guard that shoots the ball. Think about what the Kings, and when I mean shoots the ball, I mean somebody that's a deadly 3-point shooter, that's a shoot first point guard. You need somebody that can shoot the ball. Period. End of story. But think about what you have right now that's kind of growing at this point with this team. You're starting to see more basketball IQ come together with the younger guys, smart guys on the floor. Max Reynaud plays a really good pick and roll game. And of the 2 players, Flemings is a much better pick and roll player. And with how high this scout said, or how high he spoke of his floor vision, he seems like the better fit. Just to me, he seems like the better fit. And you could also ask, could you get him later in the draft? He might be gone too. I don't know. We're so early in this process. He is the closer of the 2 when it comes to, and again, I'm going to quote this, best pure point guard feel from the scout. We talked about Acuff, Flemings, and Wagler. The quote was best pure point guard feel. 2-way tools, could be the steal of the top 10 if the shot stabilizes. And that's just one scout. Everybody's going to look at players differently. But the way I've watched both of them so far, my opinions are very close to what this person's opinions were. So there you go. That's kind of my initial little breakdown of those 2 players. Because you got to remember, this guy's not going to be here. I don't see any way he's going to be here in Sacramento when the season begins. Good. Hi, Eddie.
Hi.
Does anybody know what this is from?
Hi.
Anyone?
Hi.
It's a legendary press conference. I like Fleming's intangibles and seems like a great team player, floor general. Not sure if he'll be a star. Spot on. You know what? This just came to me. Nobody has said this to me, but if you pushed me against a wall and said, give me a comp for Flemings, like give me a comp, it's probably like Mike Conley. He's had a hell of a career. He's still he's not playing right now because they got bounced. But think about that. Yeah, surprisingly, I think Acuff is faster than Fleming's going downhill. Yep, I'm with you. Renus, isn't Mikael Brown Jr. fast too? Will you panic if Fleming is picked above Acuff and Brown? No, I wouldn't panic. The Kings seem closer. If you believe what's out there, the Kings seem more closely tied to Darius Acuff. So The one thing about Acuff, I've got the stats right here from the combine. He's got, let's see, hand length. So he's got big hands for a point guard, 2 guard. I think he was at 8.5. Yeah, so he's got big man hands. Take that for what it's worth. You know, a name that I think you need to get more familiar with. He's a shooting guard. He can probably play maybe a little bit of 3, maybe. Cameron Carr. He had an outstanding combine. So Acuff's hands, 8.5 inches. What are Fleming's? Kingston Fleming's is also 8.5. So there you go. So and that's length. Height with shoe or without shoes. Acuff. Let's see. Cameron Carr, 6'4.5". Looking at this real time. Okay, Fleming, 6'2.5" without shoes. Acuff, 6'2", flat. So half an inch bigger. Wingspan. Let's see. Let's see what the wingspan is for these guys. Give me 1 second. Got to reverse that. There we go. So Fleming's wingspan, 6'3.5". And Acuff is 6'6.5". That's what's giving you those foxy reminders, the speed, the long arms, but they're different players to me. Very different players. Yeah, I think Conley is kind of what I personally see. Like if I had to put, I hate putting comps on players too. I just hate doing it. But and sorry, that was a scattered breakdown. If you're like listening on the podcast later, because it was in real time and I was looking through what I could read and what I could not read from the conversation that I had with an NBA scout about the two players. And yeah, I'll try to condense that and do that better before the draft. But that was just a very raw reading of those guys. Lynn, if you want to call, get in because we are going to get ready to wrap up pretty soon. Knicks and the Cavs. I think I'm going Knicks, you guys and gals. I think I'm going Knicks. Let's see. Should I go Knicks? Have things changed? Prize Picks, code Rhino50, get you $50 of free play on your first $5 lineup. All right, here we go. Yeah, it's same. All right, we're going New York. Done. Took New York straight up. There we go. Lynn, here is the link if you would like to call. In the meantime, make sure that we get to all our audio. I want to talk about Domas really quick. It's really it was interesting how Domas was managed coming off of the meniscus injury, coming off of the rehab portion of the injury, because for maybe 10 days, he was out there not practicing, but doing his rehabilitation. There were certain things, that flat-footed shots, etc., that were going on. So I've never torn my meniscus, so I don't know how the rehab works versus just having the surgery. But as I watched Domas progress, and the videos are on X if you want to go check them out, at Ryan in Sacktown. He looked good. He was going off of that injured knee. And so it was pretty much standard protocol for Doug Christie to bring a guy returning that's usually in the starting lineup, bringing them off the bench their first game. And so that happened with Domas. I think he had an okay game. And then the second game rolled around, and we were expecting Domas to start. And he was asked a question, Doug Christie was, at the pregame media availability, because I was sitting right there. And Doug was just very non-committal. It was weird, reinforced what Domas was coming back from. We'll get back to it in a second, because I want to see if I can kind of explain or paint a picture of where I think that situation stands between the two of them. But before that, our dude Lynn. What's up, Lynn?
What is up, Rhino? How are you doing today? I want to talk about the Spurs real quick. We got what we wanted, a split. We got one game. What I need to watch is see how bad Harper got hurt. Have you heard anything how bad that is?
Definitely going to be out. I think he is at least out next game. I don't think it's great.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, we saw Williams went out for the Thunder too, so those guys were playing hard. That's been a great series so far. Castle needed to be able to stop having so many turnovers. I tell you what, if Harper was there, they probably would have won that game, I think.
I agree with you.
The guy's a beast. Start with your sad news that you broke about Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch was Kyle Larson before Kyle Larson was Kyle Larson in NASCAR. This guy, Busch, won 234 races between Cup, Xfinity, and trucks. He drove for 3 of the legacy teams. Hendricks, Gibbs is where he's best known for the MM car. And his last 4 years, he's been with Childress. He won 2 Cup championships. He won a driver's championship in the Xfinity, and he won 7 owners championships in the truck series. And he sold his truck team to Spire, which is owned by TWG, which is a name that we talk about a lot. And this guy was amazing. And it's so sad to see this guy gone at 41 years old. Just sad to see that news, man.
It doesn't feel regular. Like, it doesn't feel real.
It doesn't. This guy was so good that they actually changed rules where you couldn't get points in both series. That's how good this guy was. Top 10 driver of all time, easily. So yeah, I just wanted to go over there. So the main reason I was calling today was I want to go back in time. 25 years ago, this coming up Tuesday, I was listening to one of my favorite sports shows between 9 and 12 called the Jim Rome Show.
Yeah.
And you know how Rome calls out, I want to hear from whatever. So the Indy 500 was a big deal this time. This was in the 2001 year. It was 7 cars from CART came over. Actually, 7 drivers. They had to drive the IRL cars. Came over and got into the Indy 500. And during that show, Rome called out 4 CART fans called in. And I was able to get past Jace too, but I didn't get my call in until about 10:45.
Okay.
So I couldn't get on because it was pretty late in the show. So my call never got on. But here's my lost call for you.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Rome, thanks for the cart call out. I'm a huge Target Chip Ganassi race fan, and yes, I do have a Target red card. How about the Indy 500 on Sunday? The boys from CART destroyed the IRL record by 4 miles, Jim. Yes, Jim, that was 4 miles, which is more than one lap. What is Tony George thinking this morning? Is Tony George going to give his top driver, Salazar, a miniature trophy for winning the IRL 496? Tony, the boys from CART came to your house, play by your rules, and own you. I know you start your season at Walt Disney World. It is time to shut down your Mickey Mouse Racing League and let the real teams and drivers back into the greatest race in the world. We're Juan Pablo Montoya, the first CART Indy 500 champion. I have one question for you, Tony. How did that note taste? Out.
Lynn, it would have played, man. It would have been great.
So that was my call, and he actually was yelling to the cart because that was a big deal. This is like kind of like Live and PGA split, but this was bigger.
I'm like
this
looking
was
for
huge.
I'm looking for some Rome.
Let's go, Rhino.
Hold on, let's fix that.
Let's go,
Lynn.
Yeah. So
Good
that was
stuff.
my call. I got past Jay Stu, so I must have been decent if I was able to get past Jay Stu on that.
You know,
but that was a big thing.
Okay, so we're gonna go Romy here for a second. I was thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, would Lynn? Could he get through a call? And it's not because of your content. Your content's really good. It's like, okay, like, is Rome going to think he's reading or not? But no, like, you're smooth, but your delivery is different. Like,
yeah, it's a little slow.
No. It's not in a bad way. Like, being different on that show is good. So I guess what I'm saying, man, is don't hang up your Rome.
I am going to tell you one funny story. You're going to laugh about this. Did you ever remember on when Mr. Grant was on 1140, the nurse that called in every once in a while talking basketball to him?
Who?
The Diane, the nurse.
No, I do not remember.
So there's this nurse that always called basketball questions for him. So this is way back in about, I don't know, like 2006, 7. It was before the Affordable Care Act, because I remember because my doctor actually was in the office. It was before everybody went and started going to Kaiser and different ones. So I called one day, calling the advice nurse. I get her, telling her exactly what was wrong with me. She comes back and goes, Lynn, are you the guy who calls the radio station talking Spurs basketball? And then she goes and asks me a question about the Kings. I'm sitting here going, Diane, you're kidding me. Can you please listen to my sentence and let me know what I should do? And I told her, well, I don't think I can really answer that question, but why don't you call Grant that later on this week? And so she listened to me and she gave me some advice, nurse. 2 days later, Rhino, listening to the radio coming home from the East Bay. And I heard Diane and ask Grant the same question that she asked me. Not
there
kidding.
You go.
Not kidding. It was hilarious. Rhino, have yourself a great weekend. Enjoy the family time on this Memorial weekend.
Yeah, definitely. You
Don't
too,
forget
brother.
about what it's all about. Get a chance to take a look at the Indy 500.
I
won't
will.
Go wrong. Great race.
I will, Lynn.
Great race. It's the beginning of it is amazing. Watching everything to the plane of taps. That's one of the most amazing things. I don't know if you ever watched the pregame of the Indy 500.
Oh,
they come out and when they play taps right before they start the engines, and you have 350,000 plus people, and it is so silent. You can drop a pin. That's how quiet it is. That is just so flat out amazing. It's just so breathtaking to see the taps team play and have that whole crowd of 350,000 people, and it's silent. That race is running its 110th time this year, and it's so historical. Take care. Have a great weekend. Thanks for letting me jump in and do a little run with you today.
That was awesome, dude. You killed it. Good job
See ya.
by Lynn right there. Later, dude. Have a great weekend.
You the same.
I'm telling you, he would have got through. Lynn, that would have landed. I think that would have landed. And Lynn and I are familiar enough to tell him, like, yeah, good thing you didn't make the call. It was good. It was concise, to the point. I mean, what do I know? It's not like I'm, doing a ton on Rome anymore. But good job, Lynn. Proud of you, dude. That was really good. I think we're going to end on Lynn. I was trying to find something. I've got a library of drops with Rome.
Speaking of somebody who
that's
knows
Webb.
how to connect with an audience, my pal, the great Ryan in Sacktown.
That's Brian Weber. Love you, B Webb. Great dude. Work ethic like none other. Yeah, I've been like, I don't think I have like
Rhino, brother. I like you, Rhino. I like you as a dude. You're barely qualified to call this show.
There you go.
What are you doing in Sacramento as a member of the media?
No, you don't know me.
Yeah.
Rhino's like, you don't know me.
No, you don't
know me, Rome. Yeah,
But
yes,
you don't
I
know
do,
me, right?
Rhino. Hey, are
you anywhere around the
Rhino,
building?
I know you, dude.
My laugh does not sound like that. Yes, we do know each other. But so when the whole Russell Westbrook thing happened, Rome thought that I kicked that off. I didn't kick that off. I wasn't even in the room when Russ went after the media. Of course, it gets stuck to me, as always. Anyways, we'll carry over the Domas stuff to tomorrow. I really liked what Lynn did, considering how this show started. And I appreciate all you. I am going to, here's the other thing too. I'm going to be releasing some podcast only material coming up, especially more draft heavy podcast material, where if you are a hoops head like me and you like the minutia and you're grinding and you're really evaluating these players, I think you're going to like it. It will be more composed, concise, and I think great stuff. So make sure that you follow the King's Court with Rhino on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, you can find it. This show gets uploaded there as well. I'm also going to do a check-in episode with all of you. It's been a couple weeks now, a few weeks since we no longer are on the radio, and it's a little bit of a whirlwind. You kind of let the dust settle, and the people that you care about reach out to you and vice versa. And this is nothing compared to the stuff we were talking about and Lynn was talking about with Kyle Busch. But, I've been kind of just, I haven't talked much about it. I've said a few things here and there. So I just want to give you just kind of an update on everything, where we're at, give you a little more information and what we're going to be doing going forward and what I hope to be doing going forward as well. And none of that is possible without any of you. So thank you for tuning in at 3:00 Monday through Friday. Tomorrow we have the wrestling segment as well. We're gonna have a debut tomorrow. Adam will be here, and right now we are scheduled to have a debut. Somebody will be joining us for the wrestling segment, and he will be a regular around. You've got to be kidding me. What? Am I going to pinch myself and wake up at some point and say, okay, time to do the King's Court, Ryan? Joey Chestnut got arrested? What is going on? Just got a notification. It's been out for 15 years. Joey Chestnut pleads guilty after allegedly slapping a man at the bar. The hell? This is a legit headline. Will Joey Chestnut be on probation for the Nathan's hot dog eating contest in Coney Island? Unreal day. So anyways, look for those podcasts. Those are going to be dropping soon. You got to follow over on the audio end to get the audio exclusive ones. And if you listen there, or if you go through the program and you go through some of the ones we've done before, there's some good stuff there. There's some really good stuff. So I appreciate y'all and have a great day. Drive safe. We're going to wrap up the week tomorrow. Have fun. Enjoy the game tonight. We will be all over it tomorrow with the coverage. Make it a great rest of the day. We will see you tomorrow with the week ending edition of the King's Court. Have a great afternoon. So long. Court's dismissed.